Were you surprised at all in the inning when you kind of put the game under control and it was still 2-1 that they brought in a left-handed pitcher that pitched a weekend, Spencer?
Yeah, not enough information on seeing their splits or reverse splits or that stuff, but I would assume. Trying to think at what point. Oh, that was actually a little bit. Yeah, I thought that kid was throwing the ball well, but again, I don't have to worry about coaching our dugout. Far be it for me to try to coach somebody else's, but I'm sure they had their reasons, and I thought jumps hit got us going and created that separation, because up to then it was a pretty tight ball game.
He could get to double. They walk Spencer again. Auger's patient enough to get another walk, and then it just goes from there.
So I'm sitting here looking at this. I mean, between Torque and Haver, one for 3 on the night, and yet you throw up 14 runs. So what that speaks to is a lot of guys picking up the slack and having good at bats, and that's probably going to happen a lot this year. And we have said all along. I know we got off to a little bit of a slow start, but if they're going to continue to put those guys on base, we feel like we've got some pretty capable hitters behind them, and we've been able to make them pay a little bit for that.
Drew Swift has been consistently over the last 2 games one of those guys that, when you don't have Torkelson or Haver on a certain night, he's picked him up. What have you seen from him over the last couple of days?
Very consistent, staying with who he is. He's really working hard on staying to a good approach. I think early on he was trying to get under some baseballs and do a little bit too much, and now that he stays on the baseball, he's throwing together good at bats, hitting balls hard, and right now they're falling. He's being very, very productive with it.
He mentioned that he oddly feels bad in batting practice and then gets into the game and it's just a totally different feel. Have you noticed that he looks different in batting practices and then gets into the game and it's just a new player?
I don't know. I don't know. He's goofy. He takes good BP. I mean, what I see him working on is he's working on staying on the baseball. And when you do that, you may not hit balls over the fence or do all those things that look sexy in batting practice, but what he's trying to do is carry a good at bat, a good approach into the game, and it's translating into success. So, quite frankly, contradiction of young Drew. I don't care how he feels in batting practice, as long as he has good ABs in the game.
How valuable is it to have a 6-hole hitter that can do what he's doing right now?
There's all one. I can't. What's going on out there? What was that?
How valuable is it to have a hitter like him in his spot in the lineup? Whether that's the
good.
6th hole.
Yeah, it's good. And I think sometimes too you get fooled by his size. That lay it in there, and he's going to hit with guys on base. When he throws those consistent bats together, he's going to have a pretty good opportunity to drive people in.
Jeff mentioned that to the guys, losing 2 or 3 last year. This year's a little. Did you mention anything to him, or do you think the guys who were here?
Oh, we mentioned it to him.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was very similar to a Friday night last year. Come out and jump on him, and but that's some of that part of that maturity, the maturation process, and growing up. And it's not the score, it's not the opponent. You're playing yourself every night. And our whole challenge is to get in there, throw strikes, play defense behind the guys, and then put together quality at bats, no matter who you're playing with, and no matter what you did the night before. We talked about that today. That was the question I asked him before we went out for this game. I said, what do we tell you after a tough loss? You got to clear it, forget about it, and go get the next game. Well, it's the same thing on a blowout win. Clear it, forget about it, go out and focus on the next win. So I think our guys are a pretty mature club, and they did a good job of that tonight. Now we'll see if we can take one more step and put this one away and realize the score's 0-0 tomorrow. They're gonna come out and try to salvage something on this, so we will take nothing for granted.
How happy were you with Thorne's performance?
It was good. I mean, I don't think he had his best stuff tonight, but you look in the box score, he goes 8 innings with 6 innings with 8 strikeouts and a walk, plenty good enough. But he's did his job, which was to keep us in the ball game for 5 or 6 innings, and that was a quality start. Really, really happy for him.
How valuable is it to have Boyd in the bullpen right now?
Well, again, I wouldn't read too much into it. We've got a couple really quality midweek games coming up, so we're trying to set. Our plan all along was to have him, go against Fullerton midweek. So we purposely pitch it out of it, but we still feel like that's. Well, answering your question is great, but I wouldn't read too much into it because what we want to do is be set by Utah. So, and then what we're looking at is matchups and try to figure out what we think gives us the best chance to win every baseball we can leading up to that series. I think that starting rotation will continue to evolve, and fortunately for us, we got 5-6 guys realistically that could fill one of the spots.
I know it's still a small sample size, but would you say Tyler's been the most consistent starter just so far, given that it's almost like a guaranteed 6 strong from him?
Yeah, bite your tongue. A little too early to say that, but yeah, I mean, he's done a good job up to this point. A lot of season left to play, but yeah, no question, he's done exactly what we need him to do each time out up to this point. But as you say, we're 3 weekends in, so we got a lot of baseball left.
Swift made at least one really nice play today. I can't remember if he made his second one, but just what's it like having him back at second base?
No, I mean, when you take hits away, that makes it, the way we're pitching it makes it so much tougher. And even that play he made I think it was the 9th inning last night was a really good play. And it was funny, we jokingly said to Baez, hey, no offense, Nate, but I don't think you'd make that play right there. He said, well, I don't know about that, Skip. Maybe, put me in there, maybe see what happens. So, but I like the vibe in there, but I honestly didn't think he was going to get to that ball. And he made it look, that was pretty impressive. He made it look really, really easy. Clearly, if everything is going, barring injuries and all those things, we're not moving them, but we're kind of all hands on deck. We said we're going to do whatever we need to do to try to get the best lineup out there. And, but unfortunately, injuries are part of the game. We got to kind of navigate around that till we get guys back. It's just nice to have that flexibility. But yes, when you can set those 4 juniors who played together for 2+ years out there together at the same time, it makes our life a lot easier.
You guys scored 13 runs last night, and you said that you weren't happy with some of the mental things that you guys did. Were you a lot more satisfied, or at least a little bit more satisfied with the performance tonight?
Yeah, we had a couple things tonight. We had a couple things tonight that maybe the casual fan wouldn't pick up on. We still have to tighten up. I mean, we're when you swing the bat, it covers up a lot of mistakes, but those things are not. You're not always going to hit like that, but the things that you can control, you've got to control. And I'm not talking about getting hit or that type of stuff. I'm talking about knowing what you're supposed to do in certain situations, knowing the signs, those types of things. And it was better, but we still have room for improvement, for sure.
Is one of those frustrations lately just the ability to lay down a bunt? Because it seems like that's been a bit of a struggle in the last couple of games, and you've pulled certain players that haven't been able to lay them down in the right spots.
Yeah, I mean, it's just guys, growing up, and maybe we'll write that into practice one of these times. Now it's just, for the most part, our situational hitting has been pretty good. The last 2 times it's been highlighted that Nager didn't get one down and Chima didn't get one down, but other than that, it's been relatively good.
Mentioned Joe kickstarted the rally a bit with that double there. Just talk about how he's been able to kind of come in from, obviously community college and just do his thing in the middle of the order. Yeah,
well, he's no stranger to us. But coming back, we need him. We need him to give those quality bats in the middle of the order, especially if they're going to continue to walk Spencer and even Trevor at the pace. So, not a surprise to us. The kid can hit. That's why he's in the lineup. That's why we welcomed him back with open arms, because he's proven he's a good hitter at this level. So it's good to see him get going a little bit, because if he does that, it's going to make things different. I think that'll allow those guys to get more pitches to hit.
Lika was able to hit a double tonight, but there have been multiple at-bats where he didn't get a hit and he still hit the ball hard. What do you say? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I keep a chart. The thing that I'm looking for is hard contact, and I don't have it in front of me right now, but it's probably close to his last 3 games. It's darn near 90-some% of balls that he's hitting hard, and you look at that. I thought their center fielder he's made some tremendous plays to take away some hits. You're in that, that game last night when, if kind of the unwritten rules of baseball that if there's kind of a blowout score and there's close plays, and even if the guy's safe, it's kind of understood they're going to call him out. You're not going to argue. And you know, he was the recipient of one of the, you know, kind of one of those last night. And he's just had some tough luck, but it's a long season. As long as he's continuing to have good at bats and hit baseballs hard, we're not worried about it because that's all he can control. And I would venture to say he's probably the best 184. You know, it's the loudest 184 in the country right now.